Hi, welcome to another virtual classroom experience. I am Vivian Stewart, and this session is entitled Discover African American Literature. Give me a moment to share my desktop and we will get started. We are now at the library's homepage. And if you would like to ever use our resources, the best way for you to access our page is to start out at the public website for the school, the www.southwest.tn.edu. There is a blue bar or banner across the top. The library is the third option. Simply select it and you will now be at our page. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with using our library or using library resources at all, because I understand that a lot of students feel very comfortable using popular search engines like Google and Bing and Yahoo. But what if your instructor said you could not use those, that you need to use credible, authoritative, and scholarly type resources? Would you know where to go and how to actually access and use them? During my session today, what I would like to do is to cover three things. I want to introduce you to our databases, which are the primary resources that our students use. I want to make sure that you know how to access software that will help you with any writing assignment. And lastly, I want to make sure that you know how to contact a librarian if you need additional assistance. Now, please make sure that you expand your screen to full screen view at this point because I want to make sure that you're able to see everything that I'm about to do. And keep in mind that if by chance you're not able to keep up with me fully, that you can always ask for assistance later on. So, if you are taking an African American literature class, these are the type of resources that may be helpful if you don't fully understand everything in your textbook, or if you have to do a research assignment on an author or a story that you're supposed to read. So, from the library's homepage, the first thing that I am doing is simply scrolling down and I am selecting databases. Our databases serve as alternatives to using popular search engines. Our databases will provide you access to electronic books, multimedia items if you're more of a visual type learners, magazine, newspapers, and journal type articles. You need to know that your Southwest username and password is required for remote access. If you're ever on campus, it will not ask you for this. Now, I was online earlier, so it may not ask me again in order to give me access. So taking a look at our databases page, the first thing that you will notice is that I have an alphabetical listing of broad categories. These categories are listed in dark bold print. You have the ability to expand by simply clicking on the plus sign at the very end. So I want to do a series of what if. So what if you had this type of assignment? This is how I would actually approach it if I had to work on this assignment. So my first what if is what if you had an assignment to write an essay on an author that was mentioned in one of your chapters? The place that I would start is the category of biographies. And when I click to expand this, you'll see that we have a listing for our databases, which are our paid subscriptions. And there's a listing of recommended websites. And these are websites that we have used quite frequently that we consider to be good sites. So we bookmark them for you. But I'm simply concentrating on the databases now. So I would go to biography, Gale, in context. Now, I thought that it would not recognize me, and but it doesn't. So at this point, I do need to log in. So I need to select my username, and now I am entering my password. And once I am logged in, I will not have to go through this process again as long as I'm in this session. So this is Gale in Context Biographies, a great place to come to find biographical information. So if I had chosen William Wells Brown as the person I want to find information on, I would simply click inside of my search box and I started keying in his name, William Wells. And before I could finish, I now have two listings. So it does not matter if you key in William Wells Brown or Brown's Williams Wells because it finds it in either way. So I'm selecting the first one. And this is the type of information I have access to. First of all, I have a picture of him that I can enlarge and I can have it cited in case I wanted to use this. It provides me with an overview. So I see part of the overview, but if I select read more, I now have the full content of the overview, which is coming from the Encyclopedia of World Biography. And it tells me how many words it has and also the reading level. Now, it's not very long, but it is enough to give me some basic understanding of who this person was. There are tools that are provided in all of our databases to help this be a better experience for you. And the first tool, and which may be the most important, is the ability to cite your resources. Now, this allows you to cite this in MLA 8th, APA 7th, Chicago 17th, and Harvard. So it has been cited for you, but you must keep in mind that you still have to proof this to make sure that it is done correctly because it's computer generated. I also need to alert you that you need to check with your instructors to see how they would like for you to actually cite this. Because with this particular one that's done at MLA 8th, the very end gives you an access date. And there are some instructors that may or may not accept this. So even though it is done here, you may have an instructor that does not want you to actually include that. So before you simply select this and copy and paste it into your bibliography, make sure that you check with your instructor. You also have the ability to translate this into multiple languages. You could decrease or increase your font size. You could actually listen to this being read to you if you're more of an audio type learner. If you have a Gmail account, you could send this to your Google Drive and have permanent access to it. You could sign in with your Southwest credentials and send it to your Microsoft OneDrive. You could send this to another email account you may have. You could download this to your computer or your USB drive. You have the option also to send this to the printer if you would like. It lets you know when this was updated. And then under Explore, you can see that I can also get information coming from the Contemporary Black Biography, Notable Black American Men, and also the Dictionary of American Biography. And there's some additional resources that are available also. Now, I know this one item is not enough for me to complete my essay. So if I simply select his name to go back, I also see that I have some quick facts listed to the right. As I scroll down, it says on this page. So down at the bottom, I have 3 featured content, which may be information coming from a book or magazine articles. I have 6 biographies, which are reference books that will provide me with information. I have 4 magazine articles, 11 academic journals. I have 1 dedicated website. I have the 1 image, and then I have a news article. So all of those things are listed below. So this is a good place if you have a assignment to find biographical information. I'm simply closing this tab out, which now takes me back to my databases. Moving to the category of electronic books. What if you had an assignment to find out information about the Harlem Renaissance? Under the databases, I am starting with Credo Reference, which is a collection of digital reference books. So inside of my search box, I'm simply typing in my topic and pressing enter. At the very top, which is similar to like an overview, I have information coming from the Encyclopedia of American Studies, and I can select read more and view the entire content. When it comes to information coming from books, I have 961 results. All of them may not be things that you will actually be interested in, and some of them are more relevant than others. If I only wanted images, I can select images. I can see my different results listed below, and what we actually have is your topic, You have the source that it actually came from. It pulls a couple of sentences from this source. You are able to bookmark any that you like and come back to them later. It tells you the number of words. You may see the number of images, and then you have these key concepts, which will allow you to go to other subjects if you would like to. If you're more of a visual type person, you can see how we start off with the Harlem Renaissance, and you have these different people that branch off from it. And you can actually access information on these topics. Okay. You also have something that says more library resources, which will give you information coming from Google Books. So let's actually select one. Let me just select the first one. So when I selected my topic, I now have the full text of information coming from this particular source. You also have your listing of tools at the very top. These are tools you saw in the other database. We have some related searches and related articles that we can also select also. So this is Credo Reference. The Gale Ebooks is very similar to Credo Reference. It provides you with a listing of various reference books. When it comes to the info-based ebooks, I just wanted to point out that in this particular collection, which is maybe close to about 1,000 books, we have the Encyclopedia of African American Literature in this collection, along with the Encyclopedia of the Harlem Renaissance. So those are two books you may be interested in. I am selecting Net Library, which is our largest ebook collection, has about maybe 295,000 books at this time. So what if you had an assignment to read Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl? The library is closed at this point, so you're not sure how you can actually access it. Well, let's search to see if it's in this collection. And I see that I have three options. So let me select the first one. And I have 14 results for Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. Now, of course, as you scroll down, you can see all of them really don't seem to be about the book, but evidently the title is listed somewhere in there. But the one that I would like to look at is the first one, where I actually have the title. I have the author's name, who is Harriet Jacobs. I have my other publishing information, and I have the different subject headings that have been assigned to it. I also can see the cover of the book. I am selecting the first one. On the next page, I will see the different tools that I have access to. I have a description of the book. I can view the table of contents from the book if I wanted to. Under detailed record, I am selecting PDF full text, which is now loading the entire book up for me. I can go to a certain chapter and start reading. I have my tools across the top. Over to the right-hand side, I could click on my down arrow to scroll to go from one page to the other, or I can select my navigational arrows and move from one page to the other, and I could use the tools at the bottom to um, remove the side panel if I would like to. So the entire contents of the book is here for you. Moving now to the category of ethnic gender. What I would like to point out is under multimedia. If you're more of a visual type person, you may want to look at the Black Studies and Video collection along with the Diversity collection, because you may be able to find information on certain topics, and watching a video may be better for you. Under recommended websites, we do have the Harlem Renaissance bookmarks for you. And under databases, I want you to see the Oxford African American Studies Center. So as this opens up, what if you had an assignment to find information on slave narratives? So let's perform our search. Okay, and I have 934 results. Now, keep in mind, everything may not be something that you're interested in, but this is information that is available for you. So, if I decided that I want to see the narrative of Henry Watson, a fugitive slave, 1848, it tells me when it was originally unpublished, and this is my active link. I just simply select, and now I'm waiting to actually see this information, which is available here for me. Your tools are across the top. We're closing this out. Moving now to the category of language and literature. Okay, I want to point out that we have Critical in Slice to Slave Narratives, which is an entire book that is available for you. What if you had an assignment where you had to find the text of a poem? So at this point, I am using Lit Finder. Lit Finder can be used to find poetry, to find plays, to find short stories, to find speeches. So instead of performing my search here, I want to perform the search that says Works Search. And the poem that I'm looking for is entitled Still I Rise. And here I have a match, tells me who the author is, that it is a poem, and I have two results. So if I select the poem itself, under primary sources and literary works, there is one. Under topics and works overview, there is one. Okay, so I am selecting the title here to look at the first one. And I can see that this is the entire text of the poem. Under Explore, I can explore African American women and African American poetry and also Black poetry if I wanted to. And remember, you do have the tool where you can actually listen to this being read to you. Next, let's go to Literary Reference Center. So with this one, what if you had to select a story out of your textbook and you just had to write an essay about it? Well, of course, we could easily perform a search, but I wanted to point out that in this particular database, you can look at a listing of the most studied authors or the most studied works. So I'm selecting the most studied works. And on the first page, I can see that I have Autobiography of an Ex-Colored Man, which is something that is listed in my book. And this would also provide you with some of these are actually full text of the stories themselves. But in this particular one, what I want you to see is that over to the left-hand side, I can look at magazine articles, I can look at biographies, literary criticisms, plot summaries, or reference books. And this will provide you with full text information to help you understand it a little bit better. Next, we're going to literature criticisms. Under literature criticism, you want to try to find information where people have talked about certain stories and how they feel about the writing styles and the themes and so on. So there are two things that I want to show you here. First of all, we can perform a search, and let's say that I am searching for information on Booker T. Washington. So just by performing a search under literature criticisms, I have 387, and they are sorted by relevance. 28 things that will give me biographical information. 7 things as topic and work overviews. And then I have reviews and news 11. And if you would like to filter through to narrow some of your results down, you could filter your results over to the right-hand side. But let me just actually just select one. And as you can see, this is my title, tells me the author, where the information is coming from. I have my date, the number of words, and it gives me that this is a critical essay. And it's actually found in something called the 20th Century Literature Criticisms. So I'm selecting the title now. And using this source may not be as simple for you because it's actually showing you the scanned pages from this particular source. So as you can see, it's a little bit clearer now, but it's actually the scanned pages. So reading it in this style may not be as simple for you, but if it is, as soon as you finish reading one page, of course, all you would need to do is to click to go to the next page. But if you find that this is difficult for you to understand, you may find it easier to just simply download it and print it out or send this to your email, which it will send it to you in HTML version and it will not look like this. But this is the actual information coming from these particular books. Now, let me just actually go back because there's one other thing that I would like to show you here. And I'm simply scrolling down to the very bottom. And I want to go now to the Gale Literary Index. And as you can see, you can perform an author search or work search. So at this point, I'm selecting works and I'm typing in Up From Slavery, which was written by Booker T. Washington. And depending on how many resources you need, you may find that using this index will help you kind of narrow down a little bit of what you're looking for. So I'm selecting the first one. And it tells me that I can find information in Black Literature Criticism, Edition 1, Volume 3, and these are the different pages where there is information. So, I would possibly go to page 1867 because I see there are a range of pages listed here. Or I have Literature and Its Time. There's a range of pages coming in Volume 2. And then 20th Century Literary Criticism, Volume 10. Once again, looking for the range of pages that is available. Now, this is not set up for you to actually access it from here. This is an index, but some of these sources we do have in electronic format. So at this point, what you will possibly do is check with the librarian to see if we actually have this in electronic format, and then you can actually access it and go to those pages that you need. We're closing this out. Looking at the Literature Resource Center now. So what if you actually had to write an essay about maybe something written by Martin Luther King, moving up to the contemporary period now. So let's perform a search for him. And as you can see, there are listings, right? But just like before, instead of searching that way, I think that I would rather search up under the person search. And let me see if there was anything that I would like to place in here. This just helps me narrow it down some, but I don't think I need to narrow him down at all. So let's search now. And I have Martin Luther King III, Jr., and Senior. Well, of course, I'm interested in Jr. So just as before, 34 criticisms, 12 biographies, topics and works overviews, there are threes, but now I have reviews and news, 85, primary sources and literary works, 127, and then 114 multimedia items, which may either be videos or audios. Closing this out. Okay, now let's say that you now have to write a paper and you may need some assistance. So moving back up to the category of grammar. First of all, if you've never written a research paper, you may find this video preparing for a research paper or speech to be helpful. Under recommended websites, I want to introduce you to the Thesis Builder. So after you have completed your research, you simply come and answer these questions. What's the topic you want to write about? What's your main opinion on this topic? What's the strongest argument supporting your opinion? What's a second good argument that supports your opinion? If this is not a persuasive paper, simply change this to what is a third good argument that supports your opinion. and you need to create a title. When you select Build a Thesis based upon what you have placed here, it will give you a suggested thesis statement. And if you do not copy and paste this from a source and use it, it is not plagiarism. Make an online outline will help you to stay organized when you're actually writing your paper. And you can always edit this and change the statement around if you would like. Before you turn anything in to your instructor, I suggest that you let Grammarly proof it. Grammarly is a software that will proof what you've written for grammatical errors, spelling errors, and also plagiarism. In order for you to use Grammarly, you need to create an account. So it asks you for your name. You must use your Southwest email and it asks you for a password. When you select sign up, an email goes to your Southwest email and you have to complete the validation portion. Wait for your welcome email from Grammarly and then you will have your own account. So you will copy and paste whatever you have written into Grammarly, and Grammarly will proof it and give you the number of alerts that it found. Those are the things that can be done better. So it will give you suggestions of how to correct those alerts. It will give you information, additional information or details on why it tagged that as an alert, or you could simply dismiss it. Whatever version you have in Grammarly, you will need to download that back down to your computer. But if you would feel more comfortable working with someone, keep in mind that the Academic Support Center is still available for online tutoring. Okay, closing this out. We are about to return to the library's homepage. And there are some students who would possibly prefer not to go through the different databases. And if that is the case, you have the option to use SOAR, which is our discovery service, and we will not perform a search here. But just keep in mind that it will give you a listing of everything in one place, so you don't have to use the different databases. I want to try to stay on target with my time. So in order to get additional assistance, you may want to look at our YouTube channel to watch other videos that we have posted, or you can go to Ask a Librarian. So the first option says a research coach or request a research coach. This is where you would request that a librarian work with you for about 15 or maybe 20 minutes with gathering your resources. You would simply let us know what is a good time, and a librarian will reach back out to you and schedule either a telephone conference with you or a session similar to this. We will not proof any papers for you. Your next option will be using RefChatter, which is our online chat system. Whenever it is in orange, you can see that a librarian is online and are waiting to answer your questions. When we are not online, you have the ability to leave us an email and we will respond. And these are the various hours that we are available. You can send us a text message using this number and we will respond. You could chat with us on our Facebook page. When it comes to telephone numbers, if the library is not open, well, then you could simply leave a message and somebody will respond to you. Librarians are embedded in all of the online classes, so you can access us either from the homepage of your online course or you can access us from your class list. You can ask us questions and we will respond. BombGuard is a software that will allow us to remote out to your computers. You can use our departmental email where we will respond to you. Or if you can't think of another way to access us, use report a problem and we will respond back to you. So now at this point, I have covered the three things that I wanted to share with you. So at this point, I am about to stop sharing my screen. I do hope that this has been informative and that you've learned how to access African American literature resources. But also, I hope that you can now see how our resources can help you with the other courses that you may be taking. So please, if you don't remember anything else, please remember that the library is a resource that is available to you. Please start taking advantage of it and using our resources and using us as a resource also. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that everyone stays safe and healthy and reach out to us whenever you need our assistance. Thank you once again. Bye-bye.